Hey everybody, welcome to Kingdom of Honor. I'm your host, Sandman Shane Sabunia, along with my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff. And
Oh,
back there, you got Savannah joining us as well. She'll probably not put in her opinions, but she'll yawn and lick herself in the background. So you have that to look forward to. This week we're going to talk about TNA's latest special event. I'm sorry, Impact's special event. I went back a couple of years there for a second. Against all odds, with the main event being Kenny Omega defending the Impact World Championship against Moose. I had to think about that for a second because he holds 4 different championships. He only defended the Impact
right.
this time around, which was interesting, Jeff, because he defended the Impact title. So if Moose had won, would Kenny still be the TNA champion, not the Impact champion?
I thought about that too, but remember Moose and Rich Swan had their the match where they combined the titles.
Right.
So it always confuses me that they call him a TNA champion. Because supposedly those belts were combined. Although I was kind of interested in all the stuff Callis was saying about Moose. So I Wikipedia'd him, and he's actually listed as a former TNA champion.
Yeah.
So they're recognizing his title reign, even though he just kind of picked it up out of the garbage and started carrying it.
Yeah, he did. But he kept defending it for like close to a year, right? 8 months.
Did
10
he
months,
defend it? Was he actually defending the belt, or was it like the FTW championship he just carried?
No, he was defending it.
Oh, was he? Okay, yeah. Then I guess all right. Sounds good. I don't know what you thought about this show. I have some things that kind of took me a little bit off guard. First of all, hearing Josh Matthews was kind of a downer because I was really looking forward to Matt Striker.
That was my first reaction to it. Like, wait, why is Josh Matthews coming to this? Yeah. At the same time, he was the best version of Josh Matthews I've heard in years.
Ever.
Or maybe ever. Yeah.
I was gonna say he was on point. He did a good job. It wasn't all about him. He actually did a good job of putting the wrestlers in the ring over, which was my biggest complaint about him, is he always made it about himself. And I think him and D'Lo gelled really well together. So I as disappointed as I was to not hear Matt Striker, I was pleasantly surprised with Josh Matthews throughout the night. So I got to give the devil his credit, And he did say that the next show Matt will be back. So
yeah, he did. He did say it for Slammiversary that he was looking forward to hearing D'Lo and Matt again. Yep. So
I will take that back. He did say one time during where he made it about himself when D'Lo asked him what's his favorite part of Slammiversary, and he goes, "I'm undefeated."
Yeah.
But other than that moment, I thought he was on point throughout. The matches themselves were odd. Like the Sami Callihan, the opening street fight did it ever really feel like a true street fight? It felt like it was slow and kind of plodding. It didn't feel like an actual street fight, which was odd. Joe Doring, the fact that WWE couldn't turn this guy into a star when they had him in the developmental is just blows my mind. That guy has star written all over him. That 4-way match, or was a 5-way match for the X Division, was slow as well. And the ending was horrible. How can you end something like that with a no contest on a special event?
Right. I mean, that's 4 ways, 5-way matches, triple threats. There's supposed to be no disqualification. And it's supposed to be like whoever wins. So I mean, yeah. So for that to be thrown out just because Madman Fulton decided to destroy everybody in the ring that was not named Ace Austin. That was just the referee acting outside his authority, in my opinion.
Well, and the thing that, and I want to say this before I forget, because what you just said, acting on his authority, there was a line later on where Scott D'Amore had mentioned that they gave the referee instructions on to be a little bit lenient with the count outside and stuff like that. And Tony Schiavone, you give your referees instructions, they don't have a book. And D'Amore just shot right back that Yeah, they have a book, but it's a very, very, very lenient book. There's room for interpretation. So I thought, and we'll talk about them too, but if those three were a permanent broadcast booth, I would love listening to them every single time.
Yeah.
Demore Callis and Shivani were excellent together.
Yeah, they were until the end.
Until the end, yeah. But I mean, there were little things where they did a good round robin where Demore would recognize Don Callis as a former 4-time whatever Canadian wrestling champion, and Callis would come back about how that dated him. He's 108 years old, but he's still younger than Shivani. And then Shivani would go, "Just shut up, guys." It was I enjoyed their commentary so much.
Yeah, the commentary team on this show was really good as well. Like I said, I said on our last show, the NXT did a good job on the takeover. On this one, I thought both sides of the commentary did a good job on the show. So it was really so I mean, and I don't think it was like Stryker and D'Lo Brown like I was looking forward to, where they're like they actively make the product better with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where their enthusiasm just makes you feel like a better fit, Right. But I did think that they did not get in the way of the wrestling, like has happened in so much in the past on TNA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, this is the best Josh has sounded in years, because he made it about the wrestlers, not about himself. The other comment that I have on the remaining matches is I was shocked at how weak they made a former world champion look. Like Rich Swan got decimated by Morrisey. And it was
Morrisey, he's dominated, he dominated Willie Mack,
right.
a month ago, and now he dominates Rich Swan in this.
And it was the fact that Rich Swan was a former champion. Had he not been a former champion and booked strongly as a champion, I would be a little less offended by this, but he's not that far removed from losing that belt. It's only been 4 months, 5 months since he lost the belt?
2 months.
Is it 2 months? I thought it was longer. Oh no, because Kenny won the AEW championship 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's been 2 months since he's been removed, and to have him get just destroyed. Like, did he even get any offense in? He failed the Phoenix Splash. Other than a few punches and kicks, I don't think he even got any offense in.
Yeah. Well, he did actually hit the Phoenix Splash, and Morrisey kicked out of it.
And then stood up and delivered that F5, that standing.
Yeah. So it's even more shocking because it's his finishing move. He can't pin Morris. So they're really pushing Morris to big things.
Well, and he deserves it. If he continues looking like this, he deserves it.
Yeah. Especially after the promo.
Yeah, exactly. That promo that sets up the fire in him, and he's looked strong and everything. I was just surprised that Rich Swan looked so weak. Like, they literally took a former champion and made him look like a joke.
And I was perfectly fine with it because I've never been a fan of Swan. So.
Yeah, I get it. But the next 3 matches, I really have nothing to say about.
It's so odd to see Decay reformed in this. I mean, I get it. I get it. That's something that Crazy Steve Steve back, and the Rosemary is wrestling for them again. But still feels like, why? Why did you bring back the Steve?
Especially without Abyss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think Abyss is like a one-time-a-year attraction these days, right?
Oh, yeah. He's retired at this point. I mean, he's not wrestling anymore. But still, I mean, the stable, it would be like forming the Horsemen without Flair. It's just when you've got the one superstar that's not a part of the stable anymore, should maybe went by a different name, I guess. I don't know.
And if they were going to reform them, then it should have been doing it strongly, so they should have won their 2 matches on this show and not lost. You know that's the thing is like it's like if you're gonna reform, and they've only been back for like a couple of minutes, right? So
Right.
a couple months. So I think
Oh,
if
it's
you're
a
gonna
couple minutes.
reform, you can't just go in there and just get decimated basically in your 2 title matches.
Right, exactly. And the thing about Eric Young that is I still remember Eric Young as part of Team Canada and won half of the women's world champion or tag team champion, knockouts tag team champions, and him as a comedy character who was scared of his own shadow.
Mm-hmm.
It, I and I like this new version of his character, but when you remember how he was from like 2004 to 2013, um, it's kind of hard to think of him as this maniacal mastermind that they keep trying to put him over as.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they decided to not use the Eric Young they had back in the day as they came out through their ranks. They decided to use the Eric Young version that NXT created,
WWE,
right?
yeah, and see, and that's the thing is with NXT when he was at the NXT and well, WWE was terrible, but that's not his fault. But when he
Insanity.
was in
Yeah.
NXT, yeah, when he was in NXT with Insanity, I felt like that character was legit. But coming back
no,
to
it was the stable was called Sanity.
Sanity, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was legit, like because he didn't come off as the maniacal leader. He came off as the leader who put these guys together, and they were maniacal together. But they're pushing him as this maniacal mastermind and the leader of Violent by Design, which he is the leader of Violent by Design, fine. But when you remember his history, it's hard to think of him as this guy that's all of a sudden turned the tide and is now just this genius mastermind that controls everybody through witchcraft or whatever the hell he does.
Yeah, it's hard to see why guys like Rhino and Joe Dory would follow Eric Young.
Right.
I mean, we've been told he's their leader, but what's the reason why they would follow Diener? Exactly. I mean, Diener you could see because Diener's like just kind of a, and I don't even know how Diener with Cody Diener to Diener character he is now. I guess I missed a lot the time I wasn't watching, but.
Well, I mean, it was Eric Young got into his head after beating down the Dieners for so long, and got him to turn on Cousin Jake, and then he became a part of Violent by Design.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's hard to picture Eric Young as this as this genius evil mastermind.
It is. I agree. Yeah, I that's we're seeing it, but it's like you said, it's hard to really countenance that it's the same Eric.
Right, exactly. And the only other thing about the women's matches is I know she looks pathetic while wrestling, but Su Yung reprising the Abyss, I can't think of his alter ego. When he came out by his real name.
Chris Parks.
Yeah, Joseph Parks.
Parks. Okay.
Yeah, to have Su Yung kind of revising that character that Abyss played when he would come out as Joe Parks by being Susan is fun to a point. But having her look so weak when she is Susan is not good.
Yeah, this is probably the weakest version of her character, right? Because Su Yung, was dominant, and then you had Susie, who was pretty good, and now you got Susan, who, yeah, like you said, she looks very weak and methodical. And yeah, it's an interesting take that they're doing on what you said on the Abyss thing, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like the best use of her either.
Exactly, I agree fully. I mean, even if she was a tamed down version of Su Yung with Purrazzo and Kira, no, it's not Kira. What's her name?
Kimberly.
Kimberly. Even if she was kind of a tamed down version of Su Yung with them, it would make more sense than this Susan character.
Yeah, but you can't really see Su Yung being subservient to Deanna
True.
Purrazzo either.
Very true. Very true. We had 3 women's matches on. We just talked about last week about how NXT overdoes their women's matches.
Yeah.
And we had 3 on here too.
Yeah, we did.
Granted, there was 10 matches as opposed to 5, but and I'll also give credit to Impact for having a pay-per-view under 3 hours. Thank you. Thank you, Impact.
The Jordan Grace thing is really weird. It's like they're finding a way to turn her heel, like seem like she's paranoid against Rachel Ellering or something. It's like she's doubting herself, paranoid that Rachel's doing something. I didn't get it. I think it's odd.
Yeah, and it was really odd because when did Finjuice lose the belts?
Finjuice lost the belts on an episode of Impact, on the episode of Impact right after Under Siege.
Right after they defended against Good Brothers.
Yep, they defended against Good Brothers Under Siege, and then they lost it on that next episode of Impact.
Okay, and then I the same thing with Ellering and Jordan Grace losing the belts. I didn't realize they lost them back to Fire and Flava.
That was at Under Siege.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about Susan was her interview about how they were gonna get the graphics ready because they were gonna rename them Burnt and Bland. That was a good line. That made me laugh. That definitely made me laugh.
Yeah. I thought Purrazzo versus Bailey was decent, but I'm just not I'm just not a fan of Deanna Purrazzo. Just not.
I don't understand what makes her so dominant. Like she's not
apparently because she wrestles like a 1980s wrestler. And, just takes a body part apart and loses the whole match.
Maybe, but it feels like the only reason she's so dominant was because she was fired by the WWE. It feels like they're booking from 2011 to 2013, where every WWE castoff came in and won the world championship.
Right.
And it kind of feels like that way with Deanna. I mean, she's a hell of a good wrestler, but I just can't see why she's so dominant.
Yeah, I don't either, and I wouldn't even say that she's a good wrestler, honestly. I mean, not from what I've seen I'm not saying she's not, but from what I've seen in Impact so far, I've been told she is. I haven't actually seen it in any of the matches I've seen her. That's
unless they're referring to her 80s throwback wrestling. They're saying it's because of her throwback abilities. Maybe that's why.
It's kind of what it seems like, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But the match of the night, holy crap. I'm not used to this Kenny. Moose looked like a superstar, and that announcing team was perfect. Did I lose you?
All right, you're back now.
Okay, I am back. So there was a lull there. You didn't hear anything I said.
Well, you sound like really robotic.
It's your internet, man.
Yeah, that's I did get a message. My internet's stable. I'm not sure.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's probably why. But what I said is the match of the night. Kenny was playing a different character than normal Kenny. As far as his in-ring style, Moose looks like a superstar, And I thought the announcing team was perfect for that Kenny versus Moose match, the main event.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I thought both guys were fantastic during it. I felt like Moose looked, dominant at times there, but Kenny was also like holding his own. And I just wish that they would find a way to not have all Kenny's matches finish the same way, with interference by the elite in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I understand them doing it on AEW because it should be building to something, but how are they building it to something in both organizations? Unless there's like a long-term plan between Tony and Don, it's like, what is the payoff down the road for both these championships then? I'm really looking forward though to Sami versus Kenny against all odds. I mean, at Slam.
What did you think about Kenny's style during this match? It wasn't Kenny's normal fast-paced style. It was like he wrestled Moose's match.
I thought it fit really well. I mean,
I thought he did an amazing job.
I think Kenny can wrestle pretty much any style, really. I mean, yeah, he usually goes all out, but we've seen him have slow matches against Okada too, and see it,
True.
Really, and against Naito, and see it really work out well.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, it was a odd look for him, but it just felt like it worked. Like every part of this match worked, and it made Moose a superstar. And we've been saying for years that Moose should be the face of Impact. And this match, his performance, the fact that it took two guys to beat him, this was another one. We talked about before. One guy won. One guy got over. One guy got the pinfall or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I go ahead.
I think that they did that with Moose. They made him look incredible.
They did, and thinking about it, like after the fact, Moose winning his first Impact World Championship from Kenny Omega, who is a superstar, but he's really an AEW and AEW superstar. Maybe wouldn't mean as much as if he were to beat somebody like Sami Callihan, who's already been an Impact World Champion before. Beating somebody like Sami or maybe Eddie Edwards for it would mean a lot more as far as his Impact stock than beating Kenny Omega.
That's true. That is true. I seriously believe that Moose is the one that should take the belt off of him. That's my belief. But I've been a Moose fan for a while. I think he's really become a 5-tool player. He's got the look. He's huge. I mean, he's 6'5", 309 pounds, solid freaking muscle. He's just a great performer all around. He's great at interviews. He does a good job since his heel turn of being a very dominant heel.
I'm just sad we're not going to get to see Moose like plow through Tessa Blanchard with a spear.
Yeah, true.
I'd love to see that, honestly.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I thought the announcing team was fantastic. I want those three together all the time. They're just great. I thought the way that they played off each other, Callis and Shivani, and then that having Scott D'Amore in there as well, just did a great job on that.
Yeah, and like you said, the show actually only clocked in 2 hours and 45 minutes, but yet the match ended with 9 minutes to go, and I was like, what the hell? I'm like, what's going on here? And so you knew something else was coming, and for Sami to come out there and that was kind of like cool too. Like they were like well, Sami had just wrestled in Nashville, right? And now all of a sudden he shows up in Jacksonville, and that was really a cool moment. Like he shows up there and he's like attacking Kenny, and then Don fires him, and Scott's like, what the fuck? I'm the president.
Right. You can't just fire him.
Yeah.
The one question I have is, was it pre-taped?
I don't know, because I mean, you probably can get from Nashville to Jacksonville by helicopter or plane within, like a couple hours, right? And
And I suppose,
and his match with Tommy opened the show, right? So he really
right.
could. They could have had they could have had a chopper waiting, and he could have hopped in the chopper right after his match, right after his opening tag match.
And I suppose
You know,
Anthem does have the money to pull that off, and so does Tony Khan. I mean, they both have the money to pull that off. It's not like it's Ring of Honor.
right?
Uh, so yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible, but it felt kind of out of place. Like, and they didn't even mention
Rick,
it. Nobody said, "Wait a minute, why is he here? He was supposed to be in Nashville," and
Jeff, we talked about this before. Ring of Honor is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting. They are actually the richest wrestling promotion out there.
that's right. You're correct. Yes, you are.
So Holloway could pull it off. He would take a phone call to Sinclair.
That is true. That is true.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's taped or not. I really don't know. But even if it wasn't, they easily could have done it with a chopper between Nashville and Jacksonville.
Yeah, I suppose it's not that far away.
They actually did it. They actually did it on the episode of Impact after Rebellion. I don't know. That one was probably pre-taped, but the storyline was if Kenny didn't make it in time for the end of the show, he was going to be stripped of the World Championship because there had been an agreement between Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore that whoever won the championship would appear on the next show for the other brand. So,
okay.
So since Kenny wasn't going to appear, he was going to be stripped of the championship. So there was a whole storyline where Donna had to call Kenny, and Kenny had to had to get on a chopper and arrive in time for the end of the broadcast, and that's when he and the Good Brothers ended up beating up both Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan, and that's kind of started this whole Sami Callihan.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. Nice seeing Kojima, but I felt like Joe Doring was the star of that match, and I can't see why Joe Doring is not a superstar. He's got everything when it comes to in the ring. I guess I haven't heard him talk on the mic. Maybe that's it, but he's got everything in the ring to be a superstar.
He kind of reminds you of a kind of like Stan Hansen.
He reminds me of
kind of his bearing and everything.
He reminds me of Kojima. Is who he reminds me of. I mean, remember when Kojima, when he first brought out the machine gun chops and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And he was that, like Joe Doring is, that just great storyteller, dominant in the ring. And that's kind of what Joe Doring reminds me of, is a younger version of Kojima.
Apparently, Doring and Kojima wrestled for the All Japan Triple Crown Championship previously, so it might be fun to try to find that match somewhere and watch that.
What I'd heard is that they had a pretty decent feud in All Japan.
They did, but it was over the Triple Crown Championship.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to see if we can hunt that one down.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I thought this was. I wouldn't go out of your way to watch this show, but if you got 2 hours and 45 minutes to kill, or you just want to watch the Kenny versus Moose match, I think you could do worse.
I think that that is 100% correct. The rest of it was slow and plodding. I was not a fan of the way they treated Rich Swan. I know you don't care because you don't like him, but I don't think it's a wise idea to make your former champion look that weak, only a couple of months removed from losing the championship. Unless there's a bigger story involved where Rich is gonna try to do a redemption tour or something. I don't know.
It depends how fast and hard, how high and fast they push Morrison. If they or Morrissey are, if they keep pushing him up to the top in a hurry, then this makes a lot of sense. Swan can always come back and have a big match against somebody else and get some fire back. But Morrissey, coming in, winning that 8-man tag, and then meeting Willie Mack and now beating Rich Swan. You know, he's really on a strong upward trajectory.
And he's won in dominant fashion too, with both Willie
Absolutely.
Mack and Rich Swan. So maybe that's what they're doing, is they're pushing him right to the top. And it fits. I mean, he looks like he is chiseled out of stone. He's almost 7 feet tall. That promo he cut was fantastic. They're making him look like the dominant person that WWE should have done when he was Big Cass. If the story is pushing him to the top, then it's acceptable. If he goes out and, maybe in his next match, he destroys Eddie Edwards, another former champion, something like that. And he goes on this tour of destroying former champions until he can get to Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I mean the two guys that are chiseled out of stone in that promotion right now are Morrisey and Moose, and seeing those two guys kick each other's ass.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be a great match. But yeah, other than that, Kenny versus Moose was a great match all around. Every part about it I loved. The announcing, the way Moose looked, the way Kenny wrestled a different style match, everything about it I loved. The rest of this, the only other one I would recommend that you actually go out of your way to watch would be Joe Doring versus Kojima, just because Joe Doring is a star. He is an absolute star.
Yeah, that match is only like maybe 8 minutes or something like that, so it would take much of your time. No, okay, I was really close to engage just my memory. So,
and I guess if you want to watch Morrissey destroy Rich Swan, that one's not a bad one. It's 11 minutes of a complete one-sided ass kicking. It really is.
Yeah. So guys, we're gonna be off the rest of the week. Check out our Patreon. Check out our other stuff here on YouTube. And thanks so much for watching. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. This is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
goodbye.